Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's Jerry Sansing with another edition of What's Going On in Corpus Christi. It's Sunday, September the 10th, 2016, and there's the banner that I have to put up for a certain number of seconds, or Mr. Gordy gets all over me. But anyway, that's okay. I'm glad he keeps us straight. Anyway, there are the air times. This is 7:30 p.m. on Tuesday, and then Wednesday at 8:30 p.m., which is just prior to the South Texas News and Reviews. I've had some people lately that are red hot about issues. They've been emailing me at gsansing@gmail.com. I wish you'd do the same. Let me know how you feel. You are taxpayers out there, and this is a taxpayer sanctioned show. And I am the president of the Corpus Christi Taxpayers Association, which endears me to an awful lot of people around here, both pro and con. But let me know what you think. I need your input. And then I'll announce the next meetings in just a second. Be right back. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, lights on, cameras rolling. I'm going to go around and take my seat as usual. As I've explained 100 times, this is a one-man show, so I have to go ahead and bore you a little bit with this. I'd like to point out the beautiful pink roses, the 11 for my deceased wife out of 12, and the 12th rose for a good friend of mine, April 23. So, both great women. Okay, now, what I'd like to do is, this is a Taxpayer Association sanctioned show. I'm the president of Corpus Christi Taxpayer Association. I've got quite a good crew behind me. I learned well. Mr. Joe O'Brien was the key to this whole organization, did a lot of good over the years. I hope that I can keep up with that and maintain his legacy. And then my vice president is Mr. Jack Gordy. He was president for a while, and he actually nominated me to be the president at one time, and he's been a very dedicated, very valuable asset to me as far as my first vice president. So I thank you, Jack. Now, I'm going to go down through a couple of things, and we've only got 30 minutes, but I'll try to fill it up with information. I do have some people who are emailing me now with concerns about what's going on around Corpus Christi. So I'm going to try to address some of those. Our taxpayers meeting, the next one coming up will be October 1st, that first Saturday of October, and that's going to be at the Small Planet Delicatessen at the Staples and Saratoga. Okay, it's behind the three fast food joints there in a strip center, and it's next to one of the major pharmacies around here, the drugstores. All right, so it's at 2 o'clock. We're in the back room. Go ahead and meet with us. Anybody's welcome. It is a board meeting, but we do invite all the general membership, and if you're not a member and you'd like to go ahead and find out about joining us and voice your opinion, then please join us over there at the Small Planet Deli at 2 o'clock, October the 1st. I do want to go ahead and indicate that our next general membership meeting, we have 2 a year, and that's going to be October 29th, and I have it tentatively scheduled at the Silverado Smokehouse over there on, I think that's Weber and, is that Galahar? I think it is. Okay, but anyway, I'll get out the notice for that, and each one of these shows before then I'll prep you. And that if you're not a member and you want to speak up, you want to have inform us of what you'd like to have done, even if you don't join, we appreciate that. We'll probably have some of the candidates that, if you haven't voted by then, there to plead their case as elected officials. And I have some great reservations about elected officials around here, but I can't support one because the Taxpayers Association is nonprofit status, and I don't want to slip up and tell you who I prefer to, or who I'm going to vote for and who I'm backing. That would not be advantageous to this organization. I won't do that, and that's the rules and regulations of nonprofits. Anyway, I'm concerned about the bonds that are being floated. So is my whole organization, not only by the city, and today is September the 10th, And this came out, it says superintendent to discuss bonds. Corpus Christi ISD Superintendent Roland Hernandez would like to have coffee with parents. Information about the bond package that will be on the November ballot and district initiative highlights will be discussed during next week's coffee with the superintendent. The event will be at 9 p.m. Thursday at Jason's Deli, okay, at 1416 Airline Road. So, you may want to join in on that one. And then it says since 2008, I think this is going to come out later than that, so that's not going to do you a whole lot of good. But since 2008, voters have approved 3 bond packages totaling $417 million. Folks, that's creeping up on $500 million if you look at what you've done in the last 6 years. Okay, if approved by voters, a $194 million bond package will home in. I think it should be hone in on decreasing the number of portable buildings at campuses as well as the number of access points at older schools designated with classroom doors that open to an outdoor covered walkway. Much of the bond's focus would be on improving middle school campuses. About $111.7 million of the package will fund a new Baker Middle School and consolidate Cunningham with South Park Middle Schools, as well as Haas with Cullen Middle Schools. Hernandez has said the old campuses will remain open and operational during construction of the new schools. Information can be had at 361-695-7410. So that came out today. Now, there's almost $200 million right there. That's a significant amount of money. And Del Mar College has a bond that has been put on the ballot. I get choked up when I think about this. And that one is for phase 1 of a Southside Campus at the corner of Rodfield Road and Yorktown Boulevard. They meaning Del Mar College, the Board of Regents approved the purchase of a $7 million, 96-acre plot of swampland right there, and that nasty curve that has that big bump in it that take your front end out that the city won't take any care of, okay? Because the city does not care, and they're going for bonds too, folks. So everybody wants all this money. But let me continue on with the one that bugs me the most, Del Mar College, since I am a Del Mar College employee. Okay? And I haven't had a raise until this year, and this year's is a whopping 5 to 6% on my base salary, which means nothing. Okay, haven't had one for 6-7 years prior to that, even though Del Mar College has duped you taxpayers out there by not paying attention and knowing basic accounting. Okay, Mr. McCampbell. And had surplus monies of anywhere from $5 to $12 million, and then turned right around and said that they put that into the general fund. They should not have had surplus monies if they're balancing the books for you taxpayers and doing the job you elected them to do, and that you're paying the administrators for it, Del Mar College. We don't seem to care about whether they do their job or not, as long as they can sound good. But with surplus money like that, we were told they didn't have any money for raises for any of the employees, faculty, staff, and then the rest of the employees. Now, the way that the administrators got big bucks, they got performance bonuses, okay, $15,000 a year, and then they got special privilege for increases in salary. And then what you do is you take a director or an assistant director and you want to bump them up, the bloated administration over there, you bump them up to a director or a vice president or something else and give them a big raise that way. So you don't give the raise as they are designated in their jobs. You bump them up, and then they can increase the salaries. That's the way you do it if you're in administration. And to heck with the faculty and staff. They don't deserve it anyway. They just sit on their hands over there and drink coffee and eat bonbons and provide trouble for the administrators. Poor things, poor babies. Okay. And that's condoned by the people that you elect. So be real careful this year when they vote for one of the Board of Regents members. Know who they are, know what they've done, and know what they can do if they're not an incumbent, and do your homework is all I can say. All right, and you can watch my show, South Texas News and Reviews, and I can tell you who I suggest on that one. I can't mention it on this program. I've already given you that. Okay. Now, what I'd like to do is go over a few items that we've been going over with the taxpayers. Now, one thing that disturbs me is the purchase of an $84,000–$85,000 tractor, air-conditioned John Deere, that has a big mower on the back in order to knock down the weeds out there on that 96 acres of swampland that Del Mar College purchased without voter approval. They did not go to you people and ask you if you would condone a Southside Campus. They purchased that. They've spent probably $1.5 to $1.8 million in all the site plans and getting architects to render, drawings and so forth and so on, and plan that campus out. You had absolutely no say-so in that. They preached that you did vote that in 2 years ago on that $157 million bond to build new buildings on East Campus and West Campus and upgrade some of the facilities, which hasn't been done yet, folks. It's 2 years later, roughly, and I haven't seen anything go on except this planning for the Southside Campus. Now, at a $139 million bond, they want to get started with that project after they spent the $1.8 million planning it without your permission, okay? Then what we're going to do is that $139 million is just going to be the down payment on a campus to house 20,000 students, okay? Now, we've only got maybe, I haven't seen the enrollment numbers from this fall. We just completed it. I do know we ran a lot of students off because the computer system crashed one more time. It does. You can just about make book on it over there and make a lot of money betting that it's going to fail, which it usually does. I guess the administration can't figure out how to pay for what you want to get and so forth. We're too busy, planning new campuses, and with probably computer systems that won't work out there either, if I had to take a guess. But a lot of students sat on their hands all day that first Tuesday of on-campus registration. The computers were, quote, fixed, but were extremely slow on Wednesday, so we had people waiting in line. And then that Saturday, they didn't work again, okay? So we finally just had a bunch of people sitting there and said, hey, you may as well just go home. Let's try it next week. And, I don't know if any of them came back or not, folks. But I do know it was total chaos and pandemonium. Now, if we have 12,000 students that signed up, and a lot of those are dual credit high school students that do not go to campus, then how in the world are we going to support 20,000 students on the south side in addition to the number that go to east and west campuses plus the northwest center? It doesn't make sense to me. Now, I know I didn't take mathematics at Del Mar College, and I don't understand that. I took up through calculus in high school, private British school in Athens, Greece, and did take a year and a half of calculus from a PhD mathematician out of Oxford, England. He was there, had retired out of Great Britain, and was there for his health. But I don't know any math, and then when I took math in undergraduate and graduate schools, I guess I didn't take the brand that's so prevalent and popular at Del Mar College. So I don't understand a lot of this stuff that goes on and all these numbers that they throw out to try to convince you, taxpayers, to vote for them for $129 million for phase one. Now, if they spend the same amount, assuming that without change orders and all the rest of this mess that goes with the local contractors around here, screwing the taxpayers out of money through CCISD, Del Mar, the city, and so forth, then if you multiply that, and I'm giving you a rough number, $140 million by 4, I think you come up with somewhere over $400 million, approaching $500 million, $500 million for a campus that they can't justify. So would you please go ahead and go into delmar.edu and Google that. They'll give you the website and so forth, and you can go in and figure out who your regents are, the at-large regents plus your particular district. And would you go ahead and email them and tell them that you think like me? If you do, I mean, if you're for it, tell them you're for it. But if you're like me, tell them they're out of their minds and that you plan on voting that thing down, that bond. I'm going to put the same look on this guy's face. This is Destination Bayfront guy. Okay, that's Mr. Trey McCampbell. That was on the front page of the Caller Times when I went to great lengths with the no Destination Bayfront signs and so forth and so on. And I'm going to put that same look on your face, Mr. McCampbell, when I can get voters out to vote this bond down. It's unnecessary. I'm sick and tired of it. You know, and since you didn't deem it necessary to give me a raise, and you disqualified the fact that you duped us taxpayers and had surplus monies at the end of the year, you should be zeroing that out and taking care of my tax money, which you don't. And you're a self-professed accountant. Okay, so no way am I going to condone this new one. Now, if the taxpayers go for it, marvelous. Okay. All I'm going to do is pack up and leave town. And that may be an incentive for a lot of you people out there to vote for it so that you'd have a chance of running me out of town, because I know that Del Mar College would love to, and the city and the county and some other organizations around here, elected officials. But, you know, that may be in their wildest dreams. Now, it's impossible to tell you how aggravated the taxpayers that join the Taxpayers Association are with that, okay? And then, you know, if you go look back at Destination Bayfront, and then you have Mr. Risley down there at the city. He and his former city attorney, Carlos Valdez, went after 5 of us because we tried to halt the demolition of the Memorial Coliseum. After that was done, the Destination Bayfront people said let's go for a $44 million bond through Mr. Trey McCampbell, now president of the Del Mar College Board of Regents, and you fine folks voted that down by 65%. I'm very, very proud of you. I'm glad you're paying attention, and this is almost as big a boondoggle, if not bigger, than Destination Bayfront. So support that, and I understand if any of y'all out there do hear that Mr. Risley, I think is the way he pronounces it, the current city attorney, is going to go back after me with the Friends of the Coliseum, me being one of those 5 that were sued, then let me know. You know, the challenge is on. But, you know, since the 13th Court of Appeal said that, hey, you guys were all wet, then, you know, what can I say? But anyway, the waste at Del Mar College and the city and the county and so forth is it's just staggering. And I can't speak because I don't keep up with CCISD that closely, but I don't think $200 million on top of what they've got needs to be spent. Now, the biggest problem we've got around here is the facilities that we have. Okay, the solid buildings, streets, sewer lines, and all the amenities and so forth. Our elected officials for the past 20 some odd years have totally neglected maintenance of those. We've always got a new gimmick to do this, and we want to do this, that, and the other thing, and spend a bunch of taxpayers' money and not take care of what they've already provided us with. Okay, so the elected officials, for whatever reason, okay, deem it unnecessary to take care of what we've got and what we have built. And I know it runs rampant at Del Mar College. I've got a film, if you watch this on Wednesdays, just after this at 9 o'clock. This one airs at 8:30 on Wednesday evening. Then the South Texas News and Reviews, I went over to Del Mar College and filmed all the trash over there and things that haven't been done for years, and the total neglect of the physical facilities over there that we've got. The fine folks in physical facilities are pulling their hair out at all times trying to play catch up. And it's not fair to them, administrators, to put them, and then you'll blame them if something doesn't go right. That's just the way you handle things. Just like you blame faculty members if they do something against your better wishes, knowing that that's the best to educate their students. Okay? Faculty at Del Mar College have no rights. Okay? They come up with all these wild laws and stuff that say, well, you can't do this and you can do that and so forth. Okay? And they say that with great authority, and then they're backed up by their in-house counsel, who isn't going to go against the administration because the in-house counsel is subservient to them. And our in-house counsel doesn't give a damn about faculty members. You know, I could tell you some stories over there, folks, that would curl your hair, okay? That are just downright lies. Like I can't have a copy of a grievance filed against me by a student because they're under FERPA law, okay? That's the Federal Department of Education law, which protects the information and the files and stuff of students. Well, that's got nothing to do with the student's file. If they file a grievance against me, I think by federal law I have the right to face my accuser. But Del Mar College says, no, we can't give it to you, and we won't. Then they can violate the Texas Public Information Act. And they say, no, you can't have that information. And then they ask me in a hearing why I wanted it, which is a further violation of the Texas Public Information Act. So what can you do over there to protect yourself except get on there and start screaming and hollering? You know? I mean, it's crazy over there, folks. It's absolute nuts. And then Del Mar College, once the Attorney General said give him the information he's asked for, they turned around and spent about $25,000 plus with a high-priced attorney out of Austin and sued the Attorney General's office. And then those weak-kneed, spineless, gutless people up there turned around and said, hey, you know, he's probably going to sue you, so it's contemplated or litigation. And under the law, we can't give it to him if he's going to sue us. So, you know, I should have just gone ahead and sued their butts and got it through discovery. The next time I'm going to try that. Okay? So, in anticipated litigation, folks, is probably a good deal at this stage of the game. Okay? And I think you need a good suing. I know other people are doing it. You got your butts in a ringer over there with somebody you locked out a while back. I'm keeping a close eye on that. It was one of my best friends in this world, and I resent that. I wish he'd have locked my butt out of my thing so I could have had as much fun as he has. Okay? And you may do that. And see, ladies and gentlemen, they're so crass over there that I asked them one time after some people lied about me, and lying about me is a common thing over there with my department chair and my dean and the administrators, okay? And they generally like to harass me at all times. And I enjoy it. You know, I made a game out of it, and I figured, well, I can either get mad about it or I can get even, and my philosophy has always been I'd rather get even than mad, okay? So I'm having a ball over there, and just let them, you know, let them continue on. Try if you will, and try if you may, okay? But don't be surprised if something happens over there that to your total dislike when I, you know, have a belly full of you people and go ahead and file a massive lawsuit. It's my right. Then we'll see if all those laws and stuff that you quoted me are really the truth. And I mean, you know, Del Mar College can't handle the truth, and they don't know the truth. And I'm just putting it out there. So, you know, I did ask to be fired once, and I get this letter back from the Vice President of Instruction, and she said, well, Dr. Sansing, you can be fired, but you can't request to be fired. I want you to ponder that one, taxpayers. This is what you're paying, you know, $250,000 for a president for per year, plus $15,000 performance bonuses, you know, and all the rest of this stuff. And all the best they can do is to try to build a campus that we don't need. I mean, it's nuts over there. Okay, then we've got Mr. Gordy has been trying to get, we'll see if he gets the information about how much money's been spent for cutting that new Southside Campus, a 96-acre mud hole out there. And then he also has been after the city. Now, code enforcement here at Corpus Christi, Texas, stinks. I've been trying to get a hold of them for a couple of days. I'd like for you to drive Robert Street from Alameda to Ocean and then take a look to the left, and you've got two big 4x4 political signs out there, Larry Oliveras, and I think the other one is Benavides, and they're blocking the view. The person that owns that lot has trees and shrubs and stuff out there, and you cannot tell. And today, folks, I will tell you the truth. Today is the third day that I tried to see if there was any oncoming traffic after the light turned red so that I didn't get hit. And there was a person that ran that light, and they don't have the cameras there, okay? They ran that light and almost hit me. And that's the third time since those signs went up and all that rubble and brush and stuff in that front yard are there. So please go over there and take a look at it. And then, you know, code enforcement's not going to do a damn thing about it. They're out looking for old people, retired people that can't afford a lawnmower, and they're out there measuring their grass so they can haul them down on a Friday morning down at the environmental court and fine them $25,000 for the husband and $25,000 for the wife for having tall grass. And then go over to Swantner in Louisiana. There's a sidewalk there and a light that you can't see down. And they've got the sidewalk obstructed. That's against ADA compliance, folks. And then the palm trees at Gulfway is another problem. And I think Mr. Gordy did ask a couple of days ago the council members if they had ever gotten results when they asked for the official opinion and the letter from the Department of Justice saying that Mr. Risley was right, saying they don't need to comply on that side of airline. And I think the answer was no. So there are a lot of those members down there, our city council members, that don't tell people the truth about what's going on. And when they do ask the city workers and the mayor's group down there and all the Mr. Risley and the city secretary and all for information, they don't get it. And why they don't come unglued, I don't know. Because city council people, you were voted in by people like me, common taxpayers, to go down there and take good care and be good stewards of my tax money. And for the last 20 years, you have failed miserably. So folks out there listening, like I say, I can't name names on political people, but go research these people, find out what they've done and what they haven't done. And then the people that are vying for those positions, ask them what they would do and hope that they're being sincere, and then go vote accordingly. You have to educate yourself, because what these politicians around here depend on is your total apathy, and you either won't go vote saying I don't make a difference or can't, and then, you know, you get these people in that do nothing. Except they want to go through CCISD board and then Del Mar College Board of Regents, and then the city council on their way to mayor or governor or whatever. I mean, it's a political stepping stone, and it's got to cease. And I will discuss some of these other items that we've got. I did get a email from a gentleman that says, Dr. Sansing, I enjoyed your latest television program. Your info on the workings of Corpus Christi city government and the new proposed Del Mar Southern Campus was enlightening. What do you think of the new bridge? Now, I did respond on my other show to that one, the bridge is going to be an economic boon for a lot of people, but my concern is the people that are going to have to live in that rubble over there that have already suffered. And I did spend 7 years trying to prevent Las Brisas Energy Center from coming in and maiming and harming and killing a bunch of people over there. And thank goodness, with the help of 200 or 300 of my fellow citizens and the Sierra Club Environmental Defense Fund, that we were able to shut that down. And now the people that were proponing that, selling it to the city, are up on fraud and theft charges. So that tells you what we have to deal with. And I'll be right back. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to end the show with the beautiful roses over there, the 11 plus the 12th rose over there on the right, April 23. And the banner. I've got those signs coming out from the printer. very, very soon. If you'd like to have one of those yard signs for your front yard, please let me know. Just email me at gsansing@gmail.com, and I'll be glad to get back with you and get you one. Good evening.